Hey guys, welcome to the first review. I'm really sick today. I've been sick the last few days, and I caught it from everyone in my life. They all are sick. Everyone. So that's cool. Um, but I'm gonna go ahead with this review. I showered just for you. Like, you're seeing me sick. This is like a beautiful moment. We finally reached that level of intimacy and closeness. So I'm glad we're here. Also, without my contacts in, I look way more studious. It's I do. I just do. Let's let's crack on with it. So as I mentioned, the books that I'll be talking about today are Simple Recipes by Madeleine Thien and Chorus of Mushrooms by Hiromi Goto. Now I chose both of these because I love them, so obviously this is going to be a positive review, and I don't even know if it really is a review at all. It's probably just more of a discussion because I love them. That's my review. They're excellent books. So, I mean, if that were all, I could just stop the video here. But there are more things that I want to talk about. And I'm trying to structure it so that I don't give anything away. So both of these books are immigrant narratives. In the case of Simple Recipes, they're Malaysian Canadian, and in Course of Mushrooms, Japanese Canadian. I love immigrant narratives. I love Asian Canadian literature. So it was really a thrill to read both of these books for the first time and also reread them. I read Chorus of Mushrooms this week again, just to get reacquainted with it, and it's so achingly beautiful. Like, I was just, well, I was just speechless. So, in the scope of Canadian literature at large, Simple Recipes is a really important short story. I mean, it's really recent that it was written, I think, in 2001, 2000, around there. Um, but it very quickly became canonized. In Course of Mushrooms was published by New West Press, which is like this small Albertan publishing house, and it's like this incredible debut novel. There's such a love and playfulness with the language. The reason I wanted to talk about both of these works together is because both of them touch on the importance of food and language, the relationship between food and language, between food and culture, language and culture, the bargaining of, what you take with you when you immigrate somewhere, or what stays with you, or what you leave behind, or what, doesn't come with you, by choice or not by choice. There's a quote that I found in Canadian Literature in English, Texts and Contexts, Volume 2, edited by Laura Moss and Cynthia Sugars, in which Madeleine Thien talks about her focus on the immigrant narrative. She says, "I think my interest was always in families and immigration, in what kind of lives people lived then let go of in order to immigrate, the way they remake themselves, the divides between parents and children in those kinds of families." And something that I love about immigrant stories is that they very often focus on the way that different members of a family react to immigration, and different generations, and that's the case with both of these pieces, and that's what ties them together to me. Also, I feel I should just add a disclaimer that these are just my opinions, obviously, and I don't mean to seem as though I know a lot about this experience or that I'm misappropriating or anything like that. I'm just sharing my interpretations of the books. Simple Recipes is a story of, I read it as a girl, but I mean, I don't think there's any distinction of gender in the short story, so I shouldn't be assuming that, but I read it as a girl. And the story's focal point is this girl's relationship with her father. And it's through this relationship that we see the generational differences and the struggles that each generation faces. So in the case of Simple Recipes, the story basically goes, this girl is trying to learn how to prepare food from her father. She's trying to learn the culture from her father, the culture that they left behind but also brought with them. And it talks about her struggles in doing that. So this girl is trying to to reconcile that space between the old country and their new home. This girl has a brother who, unlike the sister, refuses to acknowledge that culture and really pushes against it. To him, he's Canadian, he wants to be Canadian, and that's all. So it shows both sides of what I imagine is common in the immigrant experience. Either, acceptance of both, or acceptance of only one and refusal of the other. The girl is talking about her inability to learn the language now that she was born in Canada. The inability to learn the language. But for the brother who's born in Malaysia, what his father sees as a refusal of the language. And so also a refusal of the culture. And tied to the notion of language is also the importance of food. Like I said, the story is about a girl who's trying to learn the culture through preparing cultural specific meals. Her brother, on the other hand, refuses these meals. And towards the end of the story, there's a very interesting moment and switch in the type of food that's described or used. And I want to talk about it, but I want you guys to read the story. I do not have it spoiled for you. So there's just so much in it. So moving to Chorus of Mushrooms, it tells a very similar family immigrant story. This tells the story of 3 generations of women in one family, a grandmother, a mother, and a daughter. So each of these women in the story barter with their cultural identity in different ways. The grandmother considers herself Japanese in Canada. The mother is Canadian. That's all. She's the one in this novel who pushes against her Japanese heritage, and it's the daughter who is really struggling and trying to decide where she fits in. Is she Japanese? Is she Canadian? Is she Japanese Canadian? It's narrated by the grandmother and the daughter, and the way that their language weaves together, it's just so gorgeous. Like, the way that this book is written is beautiful. The grandmother speaks Japanese in this book, but her thoughts are obviously in English, so that an English audience can read it. But there are in print Japanese words, Japanese phrases, Japanese characters. Meanwhile, the granddaughter has never been taught Japanese, has no idea what her grandmother is saying, but the way that they still interact and communicate is so beautiful. The story is also about a grandmother's voyage, so, without giving too much away, she sort of has her own adventure, and this is where the importance of food comes in, because the mother, the one who has turned her back on everything that is Japanese, no longer cooks Japanese food, no longer speaks Japanese. She's just turned her back on all of it. This is where the importance of food comes in. The grandmother was this girl's only tie to Japan. They would sit in the grandmother's bed at night, eating salted squid and these Japanese foods that her mother didn't know about. And when the grandmother's off experiencing her own life, the daughter's left to try and find out her identity alone, and that's when this novel becomes really gorgeous, and you can see the way everything just comes together. And it's such an honest and really touching journey each of these women take in this novel, and the role that food plays, that again I can't really talk about because it's like the turning point, this really gorgeous moment. So I don't want to talk too much about that, but I wanted to kind of plant the seed in case any of you want to read these works, and you want to look out for these themes. I wanted to sort of touch upon them because there's so many beautiful moments, and if I talk about them, I'm spoiling it. I'm spoiling it for you who could experience it for the first time and just be so touched by it. So that's that. It wasn't really a formatted review, and it's my first one, so let me know what you thought, if you thought the structure was okay, if you liked it, didn't like it, what you liked, what you didn't like. I'm really open to feedback because I want to do a lot more of these. And of course, thank you to all of you who have kept watching and subscribing and liking and commenting and sending me messages and talking to me on Twitter or adding me on Goodreads. It's been a lot of fun getting to know you guys, and even though this is only my third video, um, I really feel connected to all of you. So thank you so much. I'm so excited to keep this up. And welcome and thank you to anyone new who's joining me. Really hope that this may have sparked an interest for you to go pick these books up. They're excellent. They're worth it. They're definitely well worth it. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to get back on my PJs. I'm going to get into bed. I'm going to eat soup. And yeah. Okay. Bye, guys.